Hello, this is David Kerr. It is February 14th, Valentine's Day, and you can see this beautiful little green screen I have behind me that I've been playing with for the past couple days. As you can tell, as I wiggle, there's still a little bit of I don't know, something just you can tell is not smooth, right? Okay, anyway, I want to get into those "We Buy Houses" signs that you see all over the neighborhood when you're driving through. What are they? Who's buying them? Why are they everywhere? Are they legal? And what's it mean for me as a realtor? Because I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker, Shady Side office. Those "We Buy Houses" signs, they get put up usually in less desirable neighborhoods or up and coming neighborhoods. And there's usually like three people that are putting them up. One being a wholesaler, number two being an actual cash investor, and three, I don't know that many people that are actually that would be willing to come and do that. But hedge funds do it as well, or they're doing Google AdWords or some other ways of marketing. And number one, what are those wholesalers? Or it should start actually with the actual one, obviously, is the cash investor, the person that's going to come in there and renovate it. And why would they go through the hassle of even putting up those signs in those particular neighborhoods? One being because they have the ability to actually cut off the real estate agent and go direct to consumer. I'm sure everybody understands why you would want to go directly to the consumer, because you're going to get a better deal. You're not going to, the seller has to, of course, raise those prices in a sense that they can pay the realtor their commission, sometimes 5, 6, 7%. So that is why an investor would go through the hassle of even putting those signs up if they're not necessarily tech savvy, in a sense that they could get on Google or Facebook or one of those other websites. So the second one, let's use for this example, is the wholesaler. What's a wholesaler? A wholesaler is somebody that spends the money to market directly to consumer again. And sometimes, well, we'll come back to that. What a wholesaler would do would, they would put in an offer on your property, and usually there's an assignment agreement that allows them to either assign it to another company that they might have financial interest in, or assign that agreement to an actual cash investor. So what that means is, if a house is marked, the house's market value is worth $100,000. If they went to market and listed it for $100,000, that's what they would get. That's what a realtor would tell them to list it based off of the comparable houses that have sold in that area. A wholesaler comes in the same way that a cash and investor would come into that property, or even the third one, which is hedge funds. They come in and get a discount. Usually the wholesaler has to get the property even more deeply discounted, because they have to make an acquisitions fee. So if the house is worth 100, the regular cash investor comes in, they can of course shrink their margins a little bit post renovation and get that full ARV of whatever it's worth after repair value. Getting tangled up in thoughts there. What does that mean? So $100,000 is the market value. A wholesaler would have to come in and offer 60 cents on that dollar, maybe even less, and they would make that split. So if the cash investor, the end buyer for this particular property, buys it at 70, wholesaler locks it up for 60, they make an acquisitions fee of $10,000, right? So they would do what's called a double close, where they would first close on the property themselves. Then the cash buyer would then wire their funds and pay that original first debt off, or that first offer. I'm going to end up probably getting on some wholesalers on to maybe do an interview with them. I'm probably going to turn this into a podcast. It's super, super interesting stuff. But that's what it is. That's what those people are doing by putting those We Buy Houses signs up. To get into some more detail, there are particularly organizations like the National Association of Realtors that are going after these wholesalers in a sense that they are calling them names. And of course, there are going to be some bad apples in that mix, just as there are bad apples in the real estate business, the real retail side of it. I don't think I hit on that third one. The third one would be the institutional buyers, the hedge funds, people that are coming in, getting them, of course, somewhere between 10 and 40% discounts on these properties. They're going in and they're doing very little cosmetic, kind of the lipstick on the pig, and they're putting them right back on market. That's happening more and more lately. There are, I'm on one particular one. He's buying 5 to 6 houses a week. And occasionally I see those same properties coming back on the market with paint, some new light fixtures, and of course the bright colored door that makes it pop. And, you know, they do some landscaping, but they're in and out of those properties, rinse and repeat. That's the third person that's putting up those We Buy Houses signs. So to get onto that, why are they coming after the wholesaler part of it? Because the wholesaler's not the end buyer. They're coming in there pretending to be the actual buyer to this house, and they're then making that acquisition fee, pretending that they have the money, which some of them do. But of course, there's no regulation at all on these wholesalers. They can do whatever they want. You know, some of them can manufacture their proof of funds. That's one thing that's what's nice about working with a realtor. You know, you can track the people that are coming into those houses and looking at them. Of course, you have the box. The realtor will hit it. Of course, you do get the realtors that will still show a property without knowing anything about the buyer, because it's an internet lead and they're paying big bucks for that lead. And rather than ruin an introduction or ruin their chances of closing a deal with that buyer, they don't ask for the proof of funds. They don't ask for a pre-approval. They jump and get straight into the car and they go and open that door up. But as a good listing agent, of course, you should tell the seller that not always are those buyer agents going to vet those buyers that are coming into your house. So put your belongings away and watch out for the klepto type, and just be careful, you know. And of course, you can put it in agent remarks that you want a proof of funds, you want verified proof of funds to be sent to the listing agent before one of these buyer agents can show a random buyer the property. Yeah. So anyway, they can fabricate a proof of funds. You don't really know that they have it or not. And that's quite frankly, it's fraud, right? So that's one thing. Anyway, so Philadelphia, I believe Atlanta, and Oklahoma, I believe is the other place. Yeah, it's Oklahoma. They came out with bills called the Predatory Real Estate Wholesaler Act. And of course, these laws aim at cracking down on these wholesalers. And they use, and they kind of, in my opinion, demoralize, in a sense, some of these areas. They say that these lower income areas might not have internet access or be able to find out what their property's worth. You know, maybe grandma, of course, doesn't have internet abilities to get on to Zillow and at least see what their Zestimate is. And no, I'm not saying that the Zestimate's accurate, but it will at least give you a ballpark figure, even if it is. I mean, usually it's, within 30%, right? So that's what the problem is. That's why they're coming after these wholesalers. And what's funny is most of the people coming after the wholesalers are, of course, the National Association of Realtors. I also see when somebody's running a Facebook ad, that's usually an investor or a wholesaler. There's realtors that will comment on it and say, if you want to get market value for your house, contact me. So in a sense, there's a little bit of a rivalry there. So here's the thing. Are there some bad wholesalers? Yeah, obviously. Are there bad realtors? Because here's the problem with the realtors coming into these same properties. Of course, there's the commission that's involved in that. The realtor usually comes in. Usually it's the little princey kind that come into the property. They say, paint it up, do this, do that, fix the landscaping, fix this plumbing leak. Oh my God, it's so dirty in here. You're going to have to sweep it and clean it and declutter and get a dumpster and do all these things. And before the realtor mentioned to do all of those improvements to the house, they skipped the stage where they should be asking the seller what it is that's the pain point, right? Why are you selling it? And they end up offending the homeowner by coming in and telling them to do all these things and say if they don't do it, they're not going to get a certain amount. Of course, if they do these things, it's going to help. But a lot of them, if they're in a bad situation and they're in a pinch, they're not going to be able to do that. And that's why they're willing to go to a wholesaler, or they're willing to go to a hedge fund or an end in cash investor, right? Losing my train of thought there. Yeah. So here's the thing. If a house is going into foreclosure and usually of course, the realtor can see that a house is going into foreclosure. Sometimes these buyers want to ask too much, and the agent just wants to put their sign in the yard because they're a brand new agent and maybe it's one of their first few listings. So they'll list it for whatever the client wants to list it for, which will cause an issue, obviously, because there's a foreclosure coming down, the bank's coming down, maybe the sheriff is going to come and do a sheriff sale on it soon because there's some back taxes that have been built up over the years. These are the kind of things that can happen, especially when an agent knows that they're competing against another broker or another agent. They'll do what I call buying the listing, right? They will actually, they'll say list it for a super high amount. So if the house, really the market value is 150, they'll say list it for 200. And they're not honest in the sense that they know it's not going to get 200,000 when the market value and the comparable properties that have sold are 150. They know that. And the house is going to go into foreclosure. And they're doing that only because they want their sign in the yard. They want to put their name on that house for recognition. Is that not fraudulent? Is there not some fiduciary duty there that causes an issue? That's my point, right? A lot of these other people that are attacking the wholesalers aren't mentioning the ones that understand that they're getting less money for their house because they're trading equity for convenience. If I have my grandfather's watch and it's worth $9,000 and I take it to what do they call those things? Why can't I think of what the heck those pawn shops? It's called a pawn shop. If you took it to a pawn shop and you're in a bind, a family member got sick, you're behind on your mortgage, you need some money for whatever reason it is, you want fast cash. So you're going to trade equity for speed and convenience, right? That's the same thing that most of these buyers, or excuse me, these sellers are willing to do. That's why they call a We Buy Houses sign, right? So I really don't see why they're being attacked in that sense. But of course, you're going to get more value if you go ahead and just call a realtor from the get-go. If you call a realtor, they're mostly always going to tell you to go to the open market because you're going to get the exposure. Are you going to have to pay a fee for them to do all the work and make sure you know that the paperwork is good? Yeah. But everything's 100% negotiable. So negotiate. Maybe get a cash buyer to come in and give you an idea of what they'll give you. Then you'll do what people love, and they'll do what's called leveraging that cash offer. Well, this is what I got for a cash offer. So now I know that maybe a first-time home buyer or somebody that's going to actually live in a property is going to pay more, right? Obviously. So that's what's going on. If you ever wondered about those We Buy Houses cash signs. Oh, the other thing about them is they're totally illegal. They clutter the neighborhood, and I forget what it's called. It's a code violation by putting those up all over the city. You have to apply for a permit. That's the same way that the political people put them signs up all over the place during that time of year. So that's what's going on. If you want a real idea of what your home is worth, give me a call. I'll put my information in the links below. I might end up uploading this to YouTube. But yeah, hey, if I don't think that it's worth taking it to the market, and you truly don't want to do any repairs to it, and if I really think that it's in such bad shape that that you shouldn't take it to market, I would be happy to recommend you to somebody that's a cash buyer that will totally not care that it's a total mess or the place is falling down, sliding off the hillside, whatever it is that's going on. I mean, that there was a house over on the north side. What was that? Observatory Hill, I believe that that house was. Some TikToker actually made a video about it. It was pretty funny. I don't think I ever posted it or not, but it got like 5 million hits or something. She was making fun of the straight down hillside, but that was actually a wholesale transaction. My client actually bought that house from a wholesaler. And here's the thing. He bought that from a wholesaler, took it immediately to the open market with me. I listed it for sale, and he still ended up making money, so that the wholesaler made money. Then that middle guy made some money, and it worked out. Everybody was happy. The house was falling off the hillside. The seller at the time agreed to whatever, just wanted to walk away from it. They would have probably given it away, who knows, for zero, just wanted it gone because it was a liability. Secretly, they were probably, hoping that Yeah. Um, so that's what's going on. That's what the We Buy Houses Cash signs are. And I really hope that you like the green screen behind me. Um, it's Valentine's Day, so get out there and shoot some Cupid arrows. All right. This is David Kerr with the Kerr Company. I am with Coldwell Banker Shady Side. If you're looking for a career in real estate, reach out to me. Coldwell Banker, of course, will take you under their wing, shoot you full of some leads. I don't know if that's the right way of saying that, but yeah, I would also like to hire you on my team. I can provide you some leads, and we'll talk more on that, and we'll go from there. This is David Kerr again. Reach out to me. Whatever website this is on, please give it a like button. And that's it. Maybe leave me a comment, ask me some questions. Let me know if I said something wrong. Maybe a wholesaler felt offended from what I said. Maybe a real estate agent thinks that I'm totally out of my mind by thinking that wholesaling is even an idea for a seller. Okay. But that's it. That's all I got. I appreciate you watching this far into the video. I say and that kind of stuff a lot. We'll work on that. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.